Soon we'll commence another guided meditation. We're aiming at generating compassion today. So before I give the various examples and make suggestions, just kind of mention what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming at bringing our awareness simply to the fact that we are subject to suffering. It's a pervasive condition in experience. In conditioned experience, suffering is a characteristic. So we have anicca, we have anatta, and we have dukkha. So all of us have dukkha. Doesn't just mean suffering, it means unsatisfactoriness, but we can have subtle suffering and coarse suffering. Basically highlighting the fact that suffering is a large part of our experience and something that we are vulnerable to suffering, prone to suffering, and that's a shared experience among conscious beings. Trying just to become a little more sensitive to this, because I think it plays an important role, as we were talking earlier. It's not very helpful to be in denial about suffering. It's not very helpful to try to run away from suffering. What is helpful is to have a good look at it. And the first noble truth, suffering is to be known. So in becoming more sensitive to it, knowing it with mindfulness, and knowing it with wisdom, and then at the same time responding to it with some graciousness. This is where the Brahmaviharas come in, actually responding gracefully, skillfully, beautifully, if possible, to the various ways suffering affects us. Another reason to become sensitive to the suffering in our lives is because that will also make us more sensitive to the suffering in other people's lives. And as we set that intention to try to avoid unnecessary suffering, and we set the intention to support the process that will lead us beyond suffering, become more mindful of those conditions, the conditions of the path which are helpful, which will result in less and less suffering, and ultimately no more suffering. So this is one of the reasons we have a good look at this experience of suffering and train ourselves to respond with an open heart, with this beautiful quality of compassion. So first of all, just being mindful of the breath, establishing mindful awareness on the feeling of the breath, knowing that in-breath, the entire in-breath, and mindfully knowing that out-breath, the entire out-breath. Mindfully aware of the in-breath, coming in at the nose, through the chest, into the abdomen. Mindfully aware of the out-breath, abdomen, chest, nose. Still being aware of your breath, just also listening to the examples, suggestions. I think one major component to the suffering of human beings, because we don't have the whole perspective, we're seeing through a limited perspective affected by delusion, it means we all make mistakes. And so I want you to bring to mind now an occasion in your life where you made a big mistake. Maybe we thought something would give us some happiness and it gave us a lot of misery. Maybe we thought if we just said a few sharp words we'd feel better. And maybe those sharp words made everything worse. Just thinking of a time where we made a big mistake, and then rather than getting into the details of the story, just asking now, what was that like? That experience when you realized, oh, I've made a big mistake. And then we've all had that thought, a desperate wish, oh, I wish I could go back a day. I wish I could go back a week and not do that, in hindsight. But we couldn't. We made a mistake, and then there was some suffering. Perhaps for others as well. And then just encouraging now to open the heart of compassion to that experience, because we are affected by delusion, various types of confusion, bad habits. We do unskillful things and we make mistakes. The result is suffering. Opening the heart with compassion. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be happy, may I be well. Just understanding that this is the predicament we're in. We've made big mistakes and we'll continue to make big mistakes. And we will continue to suffer. As time goes on, we will develop more mindfulness and more wisdom. We make less mistakes. This is part of our shared experience. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be well. So thinking about that big mistake again, we're making a particular effort not to judge what we did, not to think of the various other things we could have done, how we would have done it better. Just becoming aware, mindfully aware of the result and the suffering, and then opening with kindness and with compassion, not judging. Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be happy, may I be well. And we can also consider perhaps a a time when someone else made a mistake. They did something which resulted in upsetting us. Someone said something that deeply hurt your feelings, or somebody didn't follow through on a commitment. What was that like? Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering. Mindfully aware of the out-breath. Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be happy, may I be well. And just as we make mistakes that affect others, others make mistakes which affect us, and just being mindfully aware of this aspect of the human experience, aware of this vulnerability and of this sensitivity, and then just opening the heart with an attitude of care for that, and just wishing, may I be well, may I be free from suffering. Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be happy, may I be well. I'd just like to bring up the theme of illness now, sickness. Having been born into a body, various types of illness and sickness affect the body. And just aware that between now and before the time that we die, there may be the onset of some diseases we don't yet have. We may already have some diseases the symptoms will get worse. And just mindful of what it means to have a body, how vulnerable that body is. The whole thing is full of nerves from the top of the head to the toes. Incredible potential for pain in the body. Many people now seem to get cancer, seems to be an increase in cancer. Perhaps we'll get cancer. I hope not, but it's certainly possible. Many people get diabetes. Many people get heart disease. And then just recollecting the last time that you were very sick. What was that like? The symptoms, aches and pains, headaches, fevers. Maybe you needed some surgery. What was that experience of pain like? What was the experience of recovery like? Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be happy, may I be well. And maybe bring to mind someone else that you know who's unwell. Seriously unwell, what is their experience like? And then just being openly aware, with an open heart, just aware of this experience of physical suffering. And aware of your vulnerability, you're being prone to it, any number of sickness and diseases. And then just opening with compassion to that experience. May this being, may I be well, may I be free from suffering. So you're just responding with an attitude of caring, an attitude of sincerely caring about that. And you wish that it could be otherwise. With compassion you make the wish, may I be free from suffering. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. And then I'd like to suggest just being mindful, another 50 or so people in the hall, all of them also prone to various types of sickness and disease. So breathing in, may I be free from suffering, and breathing out we make the wish, may all of these beings also be free from this type of suffering, all of those here today. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Embracing the experience, cool compassion. Breathing out, may everyone here be free from suffering. Allowing that coolness to radiate outwards. Still aware of the breath, mindfully aware of the in-breath. May I be free from suffering, mindfully aware of the out-breath. May everyone in this hall be free from suffering. And just bring to mind now the process that we have to undergo of aging, already undergoing, having been born, grown to be an adult. Then for most beings, there's this experience of having more aches and pains in the body, more aches in the bones, more pinched nerves, a part of the back which becomes painful, hands, arthritis, ankles, knees, and just mindfully acknowledging this body and its nature and the experience of the being, the conscious being that identifies with that body, more pain. And then consider also various faculties. It becomes more difficult to hear things. It becomes more difficult to see. And then the body isn't as strong. Some people are very strong and have all their faculties right up until the age of death, right through old age and to the point of death. Those people tend to be exceptions. Most people from middle age, some things start to go wrong, start to degenerate various systems or various organs. Some people, even they might want to take a rebirth. They might be fed up, they might be tired. Some people, life just goes on. Many people half deaf, half blind, and then the memory starts to go. And then many friends have died. Experience of loneliness, an experience of not being able to do the things that you used to be able to do, not having the friends that you used to have, not being able to hear the way you used to hear, not being able to see, feeling that you don't have control, feeling perhaps that people around you don't care about you. As the more younger, more vital people get on with it. And just opening our awareness, our sensitivity to this aspect of our experience, of our life, and acknowledging the suffering there. And then just making this wish, may I be free from suffering. Breathing in, may I be well. Breathing out, may I be free from suffering. And what's it like Sometimes we can notice society might be going in a direction that we don't want it to go in. We might see things which seem wrong, and it seems obvious that things shouldn't go in that direction. And yet, things continue to go in that direction. This is another aspect of suffering, isn't it? Another type of suffering. That as human beings, social creatures living in societies going somewhere we don't want to go, you might not have much choice. It might seem like there's no choice. So the world is changing around you and your life is changing, and you might have liked it better before, and yet things just go the way they're going. So various ways that suffering impinge upon the mind. Just being sensitive and open to that, and then offering that experience the kindness of compassion. Being compassionate towards that. Yes, this is suffering, this is painful. May I be free from suffering. And we're vulnerable environmentally. The environment around us can change. We know from recent news events, news articles, places which were abundant, where people had enough, can be struck by famine, can be struck by floods, can be struck by tornadoes, fires. All these things can happen, having been born in the human realm. And breathing in, you can wish yourself, may I be free from suffering, and bring to mind some of those hungry people, very hungry people, weak people in Africa. Yet another famine in Africa. So all of those beings just as sensitive and wishing for happiness just like we do. And breathing out, may those people be free from suffering. And all we have to do here is have that wish, sincere wish, irradiating that from the heart, cool waves of compassion. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. May I be safe. And breathing out, may those people, very hungry, starving, dying people, be free from suffering. I had an experience on a plane recently. Stay with your meditation while I tell a little story. Stay in your center, just hear my voice. I had an experience where A lady on the other side of the aisle was travelling without a husband. She was travelling with 4 children. It was a very long flight. 2 of those children were old enough to take care of themselves, more or less. But then there was one 4-year-old and one 1.5-year-old who wanted a lot of attention from Mum. But the mother was very tired, not giving them so much attention after a few hours. And then just looking at this 1.5-year-old boy, just crying. It's quite amazing how much love a baby seems to need just to be okay. Babies need this constant affirmation and care, reaffirmation. Mum is there, Dad is there, someone cares. And so with Mum dozing off a bit, this child getting very upset, screaming very loudly, and then many other people getting upset. So I started to smile at that little boy, and he started to wander over my side of the aisle, and I asked his mum's permission, put him in the chair next to me. The seat next to me was empty. So this little boy's name was Joseph. He was 1.5 years old. And I put him on that chair, and he looked in my eyes, and I gave him a little bit of a hand massage, massaging his little fingers. And he was just looking in my eyes. I stroked his hair a little bit. Within about a minute he fell asleep. He felt very safe. He just needed a little bit of tactile affirmation. It's okay, you're safe. The reason I tell this story, though, is this boy was Iraqi. So his mum was a refugee from Iraq. And then became very mindful of what that experience must be like for people in Iraq. You see how vulnerable human beings are to suffering. And so what must it be like if a bomb blows up the house next door, and if a brother is dead and a father is dead? Or even if Mum dies? Or what would it be like as a very young child to become very seriously injured? A sharp piece of metal cut through a limb. Mortar or bricks fall on hands, squash parts of the body. So just becoming mindful of the potential in this realm for terrible suffering, and how incredible that suffering must be in that war-torn place. So we're also subject to this as one possibility. Hopefully we won't have to meet that this lifetime. We're just breathing in and offering compassion to this vulnerability conscious beings have. And breathing out, we can make a wish. May the beings in Iraq, affected terribly by war, those families, the soldiers, may they be free from suffering. We don't have to think about whether it's right or not. We're just aware of that incredible amount of pain, physical, mental, emotional pain, and just opening our heart and responding with cool waves of compassion. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering, and breathing out, may the people in Iraq be free from suffering. And just making that wish, may the war-torn parts of the world, may those wars end quickly. Wars which are not yet born, not yet begun, may they not begin. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may beings in war-torn parts of the world be free from suffering. And then just returning your awareness, your attention to just your own experience. We train in compassion, become aware of a large amount of suffering, and we radiate compassion in that direction for a few moments, and then we come back to the personal experience. It's important not to try to overstretch. Sometimes the mind can feel a little overwhelmed, or can become distressed. So we're aiming at generating compassion in the heart and then radiating it outwards to the extent that we can. And we can alternate with loving kindness. Breathing in, may I be well. Breathing out, may I be happy. Breathing in, may I be well. Breathing out, may I be happy. And returning again to the previous reflection earlier, in exploring the various types of things that can affect us from outside. And also just coming back to that experience of having a mind which becomes affected by negative qualities as well as positive qualities, which is that experience of having a mind which we're not in control of. What that's like. Sometimes we get upset, we know there's no point being angry, and yet the mind becomes very angry. What's the experience of having an angry mind like? The heat and the constriction, that sense of being oppressed. Similarly, with various types of desires and passions, we might very well know a certain type of desire is unskillful, unwholesome, and yet it persists. The mind can swell up with passion, with lust. And what's that like? To have a mind that becomes on fire with these mental qualities that we'd rather not experience, and then just opening with compassion, not judging that, just seeing the suffering of it, and opening the heart with a caring attitude. May I be well. May I be free from this type of suffering. May I be free from mental suffering. And aware that just like you, everyone else in the room experiences mind states that they'd rather not experience. They know that something's unskillful, they know that it's unwholesome, they want to let it go, and yet it persists. At times the mind is oppressed with negative qualities, a very painful experience. And we offer compassion. Breathing in, may I be free from mental suffering. Breathing out, may everyone in this hall, may they also be free from mental suffering. So there's 10 more minutes left of the meditation. I'm going to suggest that we do 5 minutes of loving kindness meditation and then 5 minutes of breath meditation, with Loving kindness is focusing on that goodwill, on warmth. Allowing the mind to move away from the perceptions of the various types of suffering that we can experience and beings can experience. And simply establishing a benevolent sense of goodwill, that all beings or any beings in any state, those who are healthy, happy, experiencing pleasure, may those beings be well, may those beings be happy. Beings who are experiencing more neutral, ordinary, not particularly pleasant, not particularly unpleasant experience, may those beings be well. May those beings be happy, and those beings with coarse experience of suffering just now, may they be well, may they be happy. And just starting with oneself, breathing in, may I be well, and breathing out, may I be happy. Precisely because we are so vulnerable to so many different types of unpleasant experience and so many types of suffering, we train in learning to be a good friend to ourselves. Along this path, along this process, developing insight into not-self, learning to grasp less and less at things as a self. So out of kindness, we practice a lot of meditation, we listen to a lot of teachings, develop some insight. Breathing in, may I be well, and breathing out, may I be happy. Simply making this kind wish, may I be well, offering an attitude of acceptance, of unconditional love, a warmth of goodwill. Breathing out, may I be happy. And just like you, everyone else in the room wishes to be well and happy, free from suffering. So we can include others. Breathing in, may I be well. And breathing out, may everyone here today in this hall, may they be well. Breathing in, may I be happy. And breathing out, may everyone here today in the hall, may they also be happy. May they be safe, may they take care of themselves. Breathing in, may I be well and happy. And breathing out, may everyone here today, may they be well, may they be happy. May auspicious, supportive conditions increase in their life. May there be a growth in mindfulness, a growth in samadhi, a growth in wisdom, a growth in a capacity to focus in these various ways that we need to focus. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be sincere in my practice, which will result in a growth in wellness and happiness. And may everyone else here be well, may they be happy. May they practice well. And for the last few minutes, sharpening mindfulness, becoming grounded in the body. Probably have a very sensitive mind now, so we're just training that sensitivity to come into the body, into the awareness of the physical feelings. Before we end the session, just making sure that we're nice and grounded, nice and present in the body. From this point on, we just see a thought as a thought, an emotion as an emotion. Simply mindful of one in-breath, nose, chest, abdomen, and mindful of the out-breath, abdomen, chest, nose. Simply knowing those feelings as they are in the present moment. Towards the end of a meditation and towards the end of a meditation day, so it's good to set some clear intentions with regards to practice. If things have slipped a little bit, we set the intention to increase our efforts. If things are going well, we set the intention to keep going. It's a good time to set that intention while the mind's got some clarity and depth. And we set the intention also to carry some of this more clarified mindful awareness into other activities of our life. Trying to live a more mindful life, understanding that if we do, we'll be happier, suffer less in this very life. And once again, we can dedicate merit to all beings or to some beings in particular. So we just did our guided meditation on compassion, And if we were meditating on compassion correctly, there would have been an experience of coolness in the heart and spaciousness. And compassion is actually a pleasant mind state. So when we acknowledge this characteristic of suffering and this experience of suffering, and then we have this response of compassion, there should be a sense of collectedness in the mind and of coolness, and surprisingly pleasant, more pleasant than we might realize because of its intrinsically wholesome quality. And so I just want to check within that guided meditation, the sitting that we were doing before. Did any people have moments like that? Raise your hands, please. Very good. So this we open to that pervasive experience of suffering. We become sensitive to it in order to just have that. The best response we can have to suffering is compassion, or equanimity, or loving kindness. But it's certainly within the most wholesome spectrum of possible responses to suffering, ours and others, is to respond with compassion. This is another way also that actually makes dukkha a little more manageable along this path to aspiring to be completely liberated from all forms of dukkha. Until then, we can learn to relate with dukkha, respond to dukkha, and embrace dukkha in skillful ways. And obviously, becoming sensitive to suffering, we don't want to create any unnecessary suffering for ourselves. Becoming aware that there's already quite a bit on our plate, and we don't want to create any more suffering for anyone else either. Just becoming sensitive to suffering. When dukkha is known, of course, eventually, ultimately, fully known according to its nature, conditioned nature, that one who is meditating on dukkha, eventually there need not be any dukkha. So that's, I'm talking about dukkha a lot, it's always good to make this point, that when the Buddha had his insight into the Four Noble Truths, once we're talking about the cessation of suffering, there's no dukkha anymore. Dukkha has been known, in being known it has been let go of. So it's always good to have that in the picture. There's the truth of the suffering of dukkha, and there's the truth of the cessation of dukkha, which is wonderful. All of these different types of dukkha that we were meditating upon, it's nice, wonderful, profound, amazing to consider the fact that we can go beyond every type of dukkha eventually. It's very encouraging. So once the mind has been established in insight and doesn't identify anymore with these five khandhas, forms, feelings, perceptions, sankharas, etc., the sense bases, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, various types of sense-based consciousness. Once we don't identify with those things, we don't think that they're a self, we understand these various conditions as conditions, and the suffering that can occur within a body doesn't cause the mind suffering. And the mind which has mahasati and profound wisdom, the mind which has insight, doesn't experience mental suffering either. So that's where we're going. And the Brahmaviharas help us in this process. I was talking earlier, by placing the mind on wholesome mind objects, it's not picking up the unwholesome ones. And those wholesome mind objects can become samadhi. We train in them enough. Various type of samadhi. That samadhi will support our developing insight. For this last session, if people want to continue with compassion, that's okay. Breathing in, we are free from suffering, and breathing out, you can bring individual beings to mind if you like, your mum, your dad, or your kids, or teachers. You bring that person to mind on the out-breath. May that person be free from suffering. Or breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may all beings be free from suffering. If you like, you can simply do breath meditation, mindfully aware of the in and out breath. But there's a good momentum now, meditating a lot all day, contemplating skillfully. I'm not going to talk very much from now, just give you the chance to meditate quietly, explore compassion on your own, or just rest in peacefulness to the extent that you can.
Ajahn, there's a request from the audience, from your daily devotees, to express their thanks and gratitude towards your teaching for today. The devotees here feel very blessed to have your presence here and your teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Pleasure is mutual. Thank you.
So you have one more day tomorrow morning to listen to the Dharma. So if you have any more questions you want to think through, you can present it tomorrow.